So I think I mentioned in a couple of my videos that no one really watched that I collect Sega games and consoles and stuff mainly for the Sega Mega Drive. You know, I've been collecting for a couple of years. I've got like 300 Mega Drive games, a couple of hundred from the other systems. You know, some might say it's an investment, some might say it's a waste of time and money, some might call me a pile of shit. You know, and I might agree with that last one. So, number 10 on my list would be Road Rash 2. So obviously it's a motorbike racing game. Yeah, you just race. So it says here, road rashing isn't just a sport, it's an attitude. Anyway, cruising cross country was never this hairy. Well, I had a lot of fun with this game. It's one of the games that I played the most, and you basically just smash down your opponents as you're riding past them. And this game is actually still inspiring me today. I've got a motorbike now, and whenever I see a bike close to me, I grab my chain out and just start waving it around. It just reminds me of the good old days of playing Road Rash 2. Next on my list is General Chaos. Not many people probably know about this game, but this is one of my favourite games, and it comes in at number 9 on my list. Basically you choose a team and you go head to head against another team. Yeah, you just strategically sort of place your men where they can sort of kill the other guys. And if you get too close, if two soldiers get too close to each other, then a fist fight happens. Like all play stops, and then you got to sort of fight, punch and kick until you beat the other guy or he beats you. I mean, at the end of the day, why wouldn't you want to fight for one of these two handsome devils? My next game is based off of my favourite film, Terminator 2. And I'm not talking about T2, the arcade game, which is fucking sweet. I'm talking about the one that no one likes. So, I think I love this game because it followed the movie so perfectly. There was some parts in it that were just so tough, especially the driving parts. You know, apart from the suicidal police trying to smash into your car until they blow up, and the fact that when you try and make Arnie run, he looks like he's constipated or got a carrot stuck up his ass or something like that, it actually is a really decent game. So that's number 8 on my list. The next one is the Chaos Engine. So basically, the world has turned to chaos. There's a machine and it's taken over and created all these monsters and things like that, and you've been hired to sort of go through and kill these monsters, find out like what the root of the problem is and sort it out basically. It was just so much fun to play, and yeah, ranks in my top 10. And the next game is another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie-based game, and it's True Lies. This game is one of my favourite games ever. It's so cool. You can fly a jet in it, you have flamethrowers, you have machine guns, and it's just, the level design isn't that great, but you got to be strategic about things, and you know, your ammo runs out, and there's even the bathroom scene where you're fighting people and like blowing them away in the bathroom. It's just so cool. Next on my list is actually, I've included all 4 of the series because it's hard to pick one, so I've included all 4 in my number 5 spot, and it's the Sonic games. So from Sonic 1 to Sonic and Knuckles. I'd say that Sonic 3 is probably my favourite out of all of them, but I mean, I had so much fun playing every single one from the first one to Sonic and Knuckles. But I think once Sonic 3 came out, I was at an age where I could really appreciate it, and that's probably why that's my favourite. And obviously people know now that Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 were supposed to be one game, but it was too big, so they separated into 2 games, but it's got that lock-on thing where you can actually lock the cartridges together and have the complete game. Number 4 is The Revenge of Shinobi. Same sort of thing with Sonic. I don't really need to tell people why this is on the list. It's just such a great game. The music in it is so good. It's such a perfect side-scrolling game. great game. My number 3 favourite game of all time, and this is probably one of the games that I spent the most time on, and it's Jungle Strike. I played Desert Strike before this one, and I was blown away once Jungle Strike came out. It was just such a good game. You had more than just the helicopter, you had a stealth fighter, you had a hovercraft, you had a motorbike, and the levels were so different to each other, and it was such an exciting game, and it was such a tough game as well, especially once you get into those later levels. You had to be so careful, conserve your fuel and conserve your ammo and use the right ammo on the correct enemy targets. It was just such a good strategic game, and in my top 3 games of the Sega Mega Drive. My number 2 game of the Sega Mega Drive is Earthworm Jim, and this is probably one of the best platforming games of all time. It had such good humour and all of that sort of stuff, and it's still a game that I can play today and not realise I'm playing on a console that's over 25 years old. So yeah, Earthworm Jim 2. Now my number 1 game, and I know a lot of people will agree with this, it's just such a classic, and it's a game that people still play today, and they've had so many sequels and versions of this game, and it's inspired so many games since its release, and it's ranked as one of the best games of all time, and it's Street Fighter 2. And this is a game that I can still chuck on my Mega Drive and play, and everything about it is perfect. I can't fault a thing about it. The backgrounds, the music, the sound effects. This was a game that all of my family and friends played. It was just, everyone loved this game when it was first released, and right up until the end of the Mega Drive's lifespan, this was the game to have. Everyone had to have this game. It was just such a great game, and it still is, and I can still play it and enjoy it, and I still know the moves and all of that sort of stuff. And Street Fighter 2 also paved the way for really large boobies in fighting games for years to come after it was released. So many big boobies. So those are my top 10 games. Hope you enjoyed. Sweet. Boobies.